Right then, how are we all doing? So, the CAA have issued a warning of RPAS, remotely piloted aircraft system, loss of control. So the CAA has issued recommendations to reduce the likelihood of a drone propeller detachment or remotely piloted aircraft system, a detachment which may result in damage to the aircraft, property or injuries of people. So in the UAS operators and remote pilots in the open and specific category, this is where they're aiming it for, of an operation should familiarise themselves with this guidance to make sure any changes to operations manuals and procedures were necessary. So the CAA recommends the remotely piloted aircraft system, you notice they're not saying unmanned aircraft system, and remote pilots should. So we're going to look at their recommendations. So now follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing and removing propellers. So depending on what you've got, will depend upon how you install a prop. So what prompts this CAA notification, by the way, is Phantom 4 Pro RTK. One of these came off one of these. This does not fly unless all four of these stay attached. Now, it's without knowing more about the aircraft and how it was looked after, it's very hard to say what actually happened. All we know is this came off this. How it came off, don't know. Now, just got a little look at this. So, follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing and removing propellers. Yeah, that's fair enough. DJI says you push it down and you twist, and don't try and put it on the wrong one. So, black dots, silver. So it's silver and silver. No black dot. The silver one goes on that one. Dead simple. And it is literally, you push it down, you lock and twist, and you can feel it. And that's what you do. As you install your four propellers, you'll push down, twist, make sure it's locked on, not going to come off. And you'll do that for all four. And if it is on there securely and you can feel it's not loose, then that's great. It should not come off in flight. However, it should be noted that this is plastic, and they're just, it's only 3 or 4 mil, that, I don't know if you see that this goes onto. So this goes in, slots and turns. Now, if you're a drone flyer and you're a race flyer, it's a little bit different. What you'll do is you'll put your prop on and then you tighten up a nice bolt. If you've only got one bolt, consider 2, because then one will act as a lock for it, so it's not going to come undone too easily. Next, so that's number 1. They say make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions. That's great, we can do that. Now, ensure good condition of all propellers before each flight. Now, this is one of my propellers. I've got another one down there. Where's the other one? Ah, so here's the other one. So these are typical Phantom 4 Pro. That is covered in blood. By the way, it's fly blood, and if it's horse flies that have been splattered on this, I am really happy because they're savage beasts. Anyway, so your propeller, what you're looking for. So we've got to check good condition. So what you're going to check for is there's no damage to your leading edge. If you can see a crack, a burr, or it doesn't feel smooth, then it's time for the prop to go. If there's any kind of sign of cracking, you can see any kind of defect, the prop is done, throw it away. Check that it's looking nice, yeah, on the underside as well. So it's the leading edge is actually the most important edge. Now, I wouldn't fly if there was a crack on the trailing edge, but if there was just rough, I wouldn't be too worried if there's no sign of a crack. The leading edge is the one you really worry about. But regardless, any sign of damage on leading or trailing edge, bing your prop. If when you plug it in and you lock it down and you feel wear and it doesn't feel secure to you, bin the prop. Better safe than sorry. Now, do not use aged, chipped or broken propellers. Now, aged. Now, I've got define age because I've flown model planes and helicopters, and you do get aged props. What is the lifespan of a prop? So it's a tricky one. Where's the? He says. I'm sure I had a prop. What did I do? Oh, it's there. So this is an aeronaut prop. Again, this is not a DJI one, this is a normal hobby one. How many hours should that fly for? Well, no one can answer that, because all you can do is just check it, and every now and then, I know people that fly 50cc planes and have been flying them for 10 years, still got the same prop on it, you know, but just check them, just make sure it's not got damaged, it's still fairly stiff. You can tell when plastic goes, because when you bend it too much it'll just snap. So, and by the way, oh no, I'll get to that in a minute. So, next I say check not just the surface and edge of the propeller, but also the root and hub and attachment points. Yes, I've already said that. That one escaped. So in here and here, where they attach to your Phantom 4 Pro, for example, check that those parts are in good order. Only use original or manufacturer approved parts. Now with DJI, I agree, you should only be using where you can use original manufacturer or approved parts. However, stuff like on a racing drone, so this is one of my racing drones here, it's got a bit of mud on it here, it will just use a generic prop of that size and the hole that will fit on here with an adapter. So these are very generic props. DJI though, because they make the Phantom 4 Pro and the Minis and the rest of them, stick to the DJI props. You'll see, oh, a carbon prop. Just so you know, the difference between this and carbon, this will slice you open, bad enough. This will do you some harm regardless, and anyone else. Carbon will do a lot more harm to you, just so you know. Carbon doesn't mean it's going to be quieter, carbon doesn't mean it's going to be better. It'll be stiffer and stronger, doesn't mean it's better. DJI do make things to a price point, but they also, you know, their motors and aircraft and their flight controller is so well tuned to this prop. If you was to change your prop type on one of these, I know people that will go in depth, they'll balance all the props and then they'll tune the aircraft. So if you change the pitch at all, the size, or even the make, you know, they're going to go out, going to test hover these, make sure they're happy with it, and then they'll tune it to how they want it. So, next, do not mix propeller types. When different types of propellers are approved for use, all propellers fitted must be the same type. I would hope that's common sense. Why the CAA have to say that is absolutely beyond me. If I have the Phantom 4 Pro, which is down here, and I have the version 2 propellers where they've got the quieter props and they have this nice piece on the end, I don't have one here, I wouldn't mix them. They all have to be this type or the other type. They cannot be mixed. You do not mix your props. This is well known. It's like model helicopter, you know, we never mix blades. You keep the pair you've got, end of. Now, what else we got? Consider adding cross checks to your pre-flight procedures to double check installation, especially where the propellers are regularly removed and attached for transportation. This is part of your pre-flight. This is basic stuff. None of this should need repeating. This is all stuff that is so commonsensical, it's unreal. I think it's because that Phantom 4 Pro just fell out of the sky and the prop became detached and fell 10 metres from someone. Didn't do any harm to anyone or anything, it just fell out of the sky. You can't tell when you're going to get a single point of failure like a prop coming off. It's impossible to predict. All you can try to do is look after your kit the best you can. Now, if you've got a Mini, for example, it says, get his Mini out, or Mavic, and don't get me wrong, I like both machines. My only niggle is with these airframes, and it is a niggle with these airframes, that these sit really low to the ground. Anyone that's flown these knows that if you try and just put it on normal grass, it's just going to get damaged, and the leading edge is going to take a bit of a beating. Mine are all right at the tail off so far. Yeah, they're all right. But you know, if you have to change a blade on here, for example, there's two blades, as you can see, both individual, both not connected. However, if you change this one, I would also advise changing this one, because in the pack they come in, you're more likely to get the same sort of weight, balanced, if you like. in model helicopters, for example, you would not, if you damage this main blade and this one survived, this one you'll generally take off because the new pair you put on will be the same sort of weight and balance, and then you'll do your checks, you do your adjustments as required, and then you can fly it. So whenever you change a prop on one of these little fellas, do both at the same time. So you get 2 new ones in a pack, change both of them. Keep the one that's not damaged to one side, because eventually, you never know, maybe you'll damage the other side and then you'll end up with a pair, and then you're going to be able to balance both up. But if you just take one off and stick another one on, and it's from a different pack, and you start to get a vibration, the chances are it's coming because this prop is not balanced with this prop. So just something to watch out for. But yeah, always just change the pair. It's not worth it for the sake of the pennies that these things are. You know, I think it might be a couple of quid. It's just not worth the hassle. Just throw the pair away, honestly. I'll just fold it back up. The other thing to watch out for if you've got a folding frame. So they talk about this with the multi-rotors. Just want to say, look, when you're folding your aircraft up or unfolding it, just make sure it's still got a nice click when it comes out. Make sure that those springs and the clips are doing their job. It's not just about the props, because otherwise you can have a failure somewhere else. I've not heard of a Mavic arm failure yet from a spring not working, but it probably happened one day. And the other thing to watch out for is keep to the winds that the aircraft is rated to. You see a lot of people going, oh, I'm going to fly in 30-mile-an-hour range, the drone handles it. What you've got to remember is, every time you fly the aircraft in, say, 30-mile-an-hour winds, and people do, they'll fly in a Mini, or you'll fly your Phantom 4 Pro, and they've flown it in winds well beyond what DJI say, the stress points on these little bits of plastic, here and here, it's not just about what the airframe and the flight controller can take, it's about these bits here and here. They will fail at some point. If you stress them too much, you'll get a problem. You get a problem with Phantoms, the early ones, where they will crack here because of the stress. Because people fly them in too windy conditions. Now, how do you get the CAA warnings and updates like this? How do you get these CAA updates? So, please subscribe to CAA Skywise. CAA Skywise, they will send you out any important notifications. Just sign up to the drone side of things and airspace, because you might want to know about airspace that's changes going on. Those are the 2 things you want to sign up for. Yeah, and just double check your propellers, everyone. I've come from a model flying background. This is one of the most basic things you learn. Now, CAP 658's been deleted, the horror, the shock of it all. That was the guidance for model flying, because model flying, of course, has to come under CAP 722. I have to say, CAP 658 it was really good. A lot of common sense in there. Anyway, if you learn to come from a model flying background like I have, model helicopters, you learn about blades. You know, don't fly with a damaged one. Don't stress them. The right blades for the right job. Planes, if you're going to fly model planes, you'll learn how to balance your props, check your props, not fly with a damaged one. And it's actually part of a BMFA, their model flying test, if you like. So when you do your A certificate, one of the questions you will get, or a couple of them, will be on propellers and props. So yeah, don't fly with damaged ones, basically. If it needs to, you replace it. It's not hard, it's not expensive, just do it. And if the mount's not right, replace the mounting as well. Right, that's it basically. Signing up, CAA Skywise. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.